Mandy. Welcome back to the Corporate Burnouts. How are ya?
So good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm recovering from camping.
We
When I
definitely look at camping so differently, you and I.
well, when I say I'm recovering, you can't see under makeup the intense sunburn that I have and the intense muscle pain that I have because I think I'm a child and can go tubing with teenagers. um, or the insane sinus infection that I seem to have picked up somewhere along the way. So,
Yeah.
yay, camping.
Yes, you're good. You're in good health. It's great. I also went camping this weekend. We do camping just a little bit different, at least this weekend. Sometimes we go boating but I never tube because that is,
You've
obviously
obviously learned better.
well, yeah, but I still am dumb and ski and, tear my chest muscles. I feel like last week, about halfway through the week, it completely, like the chest thing completely went away. And last night I sneezed twice and I was like, Dan, that was the best sneeze of my entire life because it's hurt like hell to sneeze for 3 weeks. And so I'm
Yeah,
always like, oh, I have to sneeze. And so it was really nice. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that we're back to sneezing
normal
being a good thing.
normal body function, yes. I
So
know.
dumb. But
I
seriously.
I have been sneezing my head off
Mhm.
with all this going on, and
Mhm.
that part has been yeah, I'm grateful. Like I'm sore, but I'm sore from tubing like on my back and my shoulders and like up in my chest, but
Mhm.
sneezing is unaffected and I'm grateful.
No, you didn't actually hurt yourself. You just are
No,
sore from using muscles that you
yeah,
don't use by
because
holding
I'm
on for life. Yeah.
old and apparently inactive.
Mhm.
So great.
Yep.
Love that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you guys had fun with your dad, and like those are memories that you're
Yeah,
making.
it was really
And
good. Good to
yeah,
spend some time with him.
yes, we went camping also, but again, our camping is always glamping with the nice bed and the bathroom with a shower and
Yep.
everything, air conditioning.
Oh,
So,
we had that too. We were in a
yes.
camper. We
Yeah.
were in a camper. It wasn't, my kids were camping with the church earlier in the week
Oh,
in
yeah.
tents, and then they
No
were
air
really
conditioning.
grateful to go to the camper with the pawpaw. So,
Yes. So, but we didn't do anything strenuous this weekend. We went to a winery one day and camped there, and then we went to a wedding the next day, and we stayed at a brewery that time in the camper. And it was just a relaxing weekend and a kind of hot wedding. It was great. One of my best friends from
yeah.
high school got married, but it rained all day until basically the ceremony, and then they had an awesome night, like it really
Well,
worked out.
that's a
It was
little
an outdoor
lucky.
wedding. I know when we got there, they're scrambling because they thought that they had moved everything into the barn to do the wedding,
Hmm.
and that's a problem because that's where the dinner was going to be,
Hmm.
so they're like moving everything. So when we got there, they had gotten the tables set back up and they have all of the chairs out on the lawn area, and it was just, I was like, oh. My wedding day was also a very hot day, but at least we weren't scrambling, because it was going to rain or it didn't. So,
Yeah, I
but
don't remember your wedding day being, it was hot. Yeah,
it
but
was
like it
hot.
wasn't, we weren't miserable.
Mm-mm. I don't know. I wished the whole entire time that I didn't have extensions in my hair because the extra hair just was just sitting on my back
Yeah,
and just
just
trying me.
just touching me,
Yeah.
just touching me.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, well, I if you want to remember back, way back in the day, my wedding
Mhm.
day, my dumbass decided, let's get married in August outside at sunset in the middle of a field. Like, Jesus. And then our reception was in a barn, a literal barn outside. It was a party barn, but
Mhm.
no AC. No, I mean, I wound up by the, 10 minutes into my reception with my hair in a messy bun on the top of my head
Mhm.
and just going with it. Like, didn't matter anymore as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I really planned my wedding to not be hot. It was the end of September,
Yeah.
and it was literally 90 some degrees. That was crazy. But this wedding, I think that they lucked out a little bit because it had rained all day, that it wasn't as hot
Yeah.
as it would have been, but it was
Hold
humid.
things
And there
off.
were all these sweat bees, and they just were not. And, Mallory, huh?
Oh, yeah, she can't handle it. The
She's
drama.
like, we have to go. So we're standing in the shade during cocktail hour and she's going, can we go in the sun? I don't think that the bees are in the sun. And I'm like, I think you're wrong. And also we're going to fry, like it's
Yeah.
warm. It's a warm one because now it's all humid. And we ended up going and sitting in the barn by a fan and really enjoyed it. Enjoyed some old friends. So anyway, it was a good weekend and
Good.
now I'm happy to be home.
Yeah.
So,
I am happy to be back too.
so today, I want to just jump into our topic because I
Yeah.
am excited. You and I both love a personality test.
We do.
And it's so weird. It's like, I don't know, it's like your horoscope or something. You're like,
A
it's
little
so
bit.
me, like not your horoscope, but like your astrology and,
Yeah.
your chart and all that stuff. But it's really cool to answer questions and then have it tell you who the hell you are. And it's like, who
Mhm.
did it get that from me putting things in order of what's me and what's not me? And do I even know the exact answer to that? I can't
Yeah.
categorize these things. I can't pick between this and this, which is more me. But it's so cool that it ends up telling you exactly who you are. And
Exactly
I
who
think
you
that that's
are.
why we like it.
It's so
Mhm,
crazy to me that, I mean, and this is why I like it, right? Like, I
mhm,
know myself,
mhm,
but I kind of don't. Like, to your point, I could look at this and go, I have no idea where I'm going to land on all this stuff. And then I get the results and I'm like, what?
yeah.
You read a little further and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, that's me.
yeah,
Well,
that
and
tracks.
it's almost impossible to if someone says, "Tell me about you." It would be impossible to say, "I am this, I am this, I am this, I am this," but
I
that's what
know.
these tests do is that they can explain you very
Spot
specifically
on.
for how you lead, how you like to be led, how you handle relationships with people, how what your communication styles are. That is impactful for the workplace and for families and for friends and for everybody because we all can do better at communicating with each other and coaching each other and in the way that makes sense for the person. So,
Yeah, the
love
way
them.
that you collaborate or the way that you assign tasks, there's so many things that go into this. And
Uh-huh.
it's no wonder that corporations use this in hiring selections and things like that. But I even like we literally just took another one, which we'll get to, but I'm pumped that you sent it to me because now I can compare and contrast ours and figure out it feels stupid to say this. I want to figure out how we can best work together. We already know how to work together, but
Uh-huh.
this might validate some of the things that we think about how we work together and
Yep.
why it works the way that it does.
Yeah.
And the why
And
is really important to me.
tell them what brought this up in the first place that one of our clients wanted to
Yeah.
understand better.
Yeah. We had a client send me this test and was like, I need you to take, and I was like, I don't oh, okay, but I'm really into this stuff, and so I
Uh-huh.
was like, "Yeah," and he wasn't being, like, weird about it, like, "You're coming to work for me," but we're gonna be working really closely together, like, "This is very interesting, I wanna
Uh-huh.
know more," and I was like, "Me too, I wanna take your fancy test, let's go,"
Uh-huh.
and it doesn't take very long to take, and I took it, sent him the results, and he was like, "Just as I suspected," and I was like, "Really? Like, what did you get out of that?" And he was like, you are who you are and you are exactly who I thought you were. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, was there any shockers, big takeaways that you weren't expecting? And he was like, a couple. But then we were like really walked through it together. And not only did I get to see what the test said about me, but I got to hear and understand what it all said to him
Uh-huh.
and how that interacts with his personality type, which is an interesting one to say the very least. So
Uh-huh.
it was cool. And it just kind of snowballed into that curiosity and conversation. And here we are. We're going to dive into the personality test because if you guys are weird like us and really into these things, then you'll enjoy the conversation.
Yes. Yes. All right. So tell them about the one that we see the most often.
I think the one that I hear about the most often, like in life, I
Everyday
guess,
life.
would
Mm-hmm.
be like the Myers-Briggs. And it really dives in. I'm looking for those results because it escaped me. I see them on people's like Facebook profiles sometimes, even TikTok profiles, that kind of thing. Um,
I used
They're
to see them all the time on dating apps, like all the time. It would say
and
like
you're like, "What does
in
this
their
mean?"
well, and I still have never taken this one. I we probably should have before this podcast, but
Well, we
um
will now.
we will now. So, but it is the Myers-Briggs. If you don't know what it is, it's the one that has the 4 letters. So like the INTP or whatever they are.
Yeah.
And there's lots of different variations, but people are like, everyone knows what this means. I am this person. Swipe if that doesn't align with you.
Yeah,
You
you're like,
know?
"Get out of here if you can't handle it."
Yeah.
That's
And
funny.
it's like, well, I never knew what that meant, except for that you might be a little nerdy like me and taking personality
Yeah.
tests.
That's funny. Well, what I find interesting about that one is it's pretty like there's only 16 different combinations, right? Because it's 4 different letters.
Hmm.
The first letter goes through whether or not you are introverted or extroverted, or whether
Okay,
you
I'm
are.
an I. I know that.
Well, you definitely are. I'm
Yeah.
definitely an E. And we haven't even taken the test. We're just
I
gonna like
know.
predict our results here.
Yes.
That could be fun.
Well,
Let's
okay,
predict our
let's
results.
go
We're
through
gonna
the
predict
rest
our
of them.
results.
Yes.
Okay, so introverted or extroverted. And then the next one is sensing versus intuition. So what that means is the sensing is focused on facts, details, and present. The intuition is focused on ideas, patterns, in the future.
Ooh, that's a toss-up, but I think I'm the second one. Let's make sure that we write
I
this
think
down.
I'm the first. I think I'm S. So I'm gonna
All
have to.
right, so I am, what was the second letter?
For you would be
Uh-huh.
N.
N. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I-N, you're E-S right now. I've got
Uh-huh.
these written down. Okay.
So funny. The third letter is thinking versus feeling. So you're either a T or a F. Thinking values logic, consistency, objective decisions. Feeling values empathy, harmony, and personal values.
See, that's a toss-up for me too. I would say I'm probably more feeling.
I'm
So
definitely an
that letter?
F.
An F. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so 2 Fs. I could be really wrong about this because I'm also logical.
I could too. And it's funny because I don't think it's like you're all the way one or the other. It's just
Uh,
where do you rank highest on the scale?
yeah. Hmm.
The last one is J and P. So you either are judging or perceiving. And that one sounds like they might have picked a less aggressive word there, but the J prefers structure, plans, and closure. The P prefers flexibility, spontaneity, and options. And I think I'm a J.
Yeah, I think so too. I like to think that I'm the other one because in life, like I do like spontaneity and, all of those, but like I think that probably in a test, I'm going to be the J. All right. So we will take this and put it in the show notes, but
We'll
it looks
report
like,
back.
yes, I predict I'm an INFJ. Mandy predicts an ESFJ.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see
We're
if
going
we
to find
guessed
out.
correctly.
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about some other kind of personality tests because I would be willing to bet that nobody's using all the same test. We've got the Myers-Briggs.
Mhm.
Back in our corporate days, we took the Predictive Index behavioral assessment. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
Do you
Yes, I
remember what
liked
your
that.
results are on those?
All
I
I
don't remember
remember
exactly, but
all I remember was that I was a high D and low B, which is not as social, more detail oriented.
yeah. So with the Predictive Index, there are 4 categories. So you go through
Mhm,
your A drive, your B drive, your C drive, and your D drive.
mhm.
The A drive is all about your dominance, and I was the highest A.
Okay,
I
yeah,
do
I'm
remember
sure that
that.
I'm low A. Mhm,
Um, which a high score, those people are independent, assertive, and take charge, which is very interesting that I'm highest A because other personality tests and even my own intuition tells me that I should be a lower A, which is cooperative, accommodating, and team oriented. Like
mhm.
that
Yeah,
sounds more like me.
yeah.
But I think it could be different at different times in your life too. Like who I
I
was.
remember they had us retake it at like after several years in the job
Yeah.
because you
Because who I
change.
was when I was trying to get that job is not
Mhm.
who I have turned into at 42 years old.
Yeah.
Your B drive is all about your extroversion. So a high score on that would be outgoing, persuasive, and people oriented. A low B is reserved, introspective, and task focused.
That's totally me. So
That's
I was
you.
definitely low. Yeah.
Totally you. Your C drive is all about patience. It is like the drive for consistency and stability. So if you have a high score, you're steady, dependable, and prefers routine. If you are a low score, you prefer fast paced, variety seeking, and adaptable.
Yep.
So I am a
I
low
remember
C.
now. So I'm a high C, higher D. I remember we talked about that all the
Yeah.
time.
And
Yep.
the way that these scores interact with each other. So, like when you
Hmm.
take it and you get your results, it's like, it's not just a matter of like where you fall on each scale, it's how where you fall on each scale interacts with that trait
Uh-huh.
as to like how it presents. And like that's the part where I'm like, you're not going to get this right. And I want to pause for a second on this because when you take this test, you don't really feel like you're taking a test. You're literally circling words on a piece of paper,
Yeah,
right?
it's just
Or
this
you're
or
just
this,
checking the
right? This
box.
one was a this or this, I think is what it was. Pick the word that best describes you out of these two. And there were like 100 of them. I think that was the predictive index.
I thought it
I have to
was
look
the
it up.
one where you literally had two questions and you had to like check all the ones that you thought applied on one and then ask the question a little bit different way and you have all the same words and you check them again.
I don't remember ever doing one like that,
It's
but
been so long.
I know.
I
And
might have to retake the
there were a
PI
lot.
too.
Yeah, we need to.
We'll spend the whole week taking personality tests.
Yeah, so what's the
Okay, so
D?
the last one, the D drive, is your formality. So it's like the drive that determines how you conform to rules and structure. If you have a high score, you are precise, detail oriented, and risk averse. If you have a low score, you're flexible, informal, comfortable with ambiguity.
A very high D. I'm a
Yeah.
rule follower and a detail person, and that's just me.
Yeah, I think I was highest A, then B, a super low C, and then my D was like middle of the road.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's all very interesting because we talked about this a lot. And this was a test that, not a test, but these results, they showed this is who you are normal, right, in your everyday life, and then this is who you are in the workplace. And I know I've told this story on the podcast before, but basically I learned that I had a much different score, I guess you'll say, for at home, who I am naturally, and then who I was at work. And I was told by the same person in HR that I was probably going to burn out faster than most people who are more themselves, right? And I was like,
Yeah.
I am myself, but I am pushing myself to be not
Something
myself.
that you're not naturally. Yeah.
Yes, my personality was the same, but I was pushing myself outside of my comfort zone so much that yeah, it did lead to
Yeah.
burnout.
And
Like it
your
was.
work style had to be so different from what came natural to you
Mhm.
that it took more energy, it took more effort, it took more out of you, and therefore led to
And
burnout.
mostly in the social way, you know?
Hmm.
So, yeah, but so
I
that's very
remember fuck
interesting.
off time very, very vividly.
Yeah.
I'm glad we set those boundaries. It's
We
the
did.
only boundary we ever set, Mandy.
I know. I set. You
Fu-
would have blown through that boundary
Hey,
every
I
time.
respected that boundary.
You did. You
I
did
get
get a good
credit.
boundary.
That's really funny. Well, that's now a couple of tests we've taken. Another one that we did, which is not really the same thing, but along the same lines. Do you remember when we did the presentation or someone did a presentation on the five languages of appreciation in the workplace?
Yeah. The love languages, but for work.
Yeah,
Loved
which I
it.
thought was really cool that they did a spin-off on
Uh-huh.
that one. So if you haven't checked that out, it was a good book too. But quite honestly, like if you know anything about the love languages, you just apply those same thoughts and ideals to the
Uh-huh.
workplace. Obviously, in the workplace, they leave out touch because
Yeah,
that would be wrong.
I
Makes
know.
no sense.
Mhm.
But I found that one to be very interesting, and I loved knowing what other people's languages of appreciation were because you tend to just do what you've been taught to do, right? Like treat other people how you want to be treated. So if you like to hear a good job, then you say good job. But other people are like, that's it. Like understanding what's going to make people truly feel valued can go a long way in those relationships for sure in the workplace.
Well, and it was really helpful to think about. Obviously, at that point, I was nobody's boss or anything like that. But if I'm thinking about coaching
Mm-hmm.
managers, right? And saying you have to figure out how to make your people do the very best job for you, right? So
Yeah.
encouraging them to use the same thing and go, do they need quality time? Do they need words of affirmation? Do they need gifts, right? Because
Yeah.
I think that, we've talked about this before, like a blanket pizza party does not motivate everybody, but there's a few people who are like, I need a pizza party,
Yeah.
like I don't know, maybe they do, but some people, they need time off.
Yeah.
That's what would drive them, is more time off, because they are maybe quality time.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what would, so they need quality time with their family. So they need to know that you're going to give them time off. But some people are like, I just need a big bonus. And that's how I feel, or swag, or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we did have a coworker in the room, and it was like there was in a room of 50 people, there was only one person whose leading appreciation love language was gifts. And it was like, tell me more about that. Like, do you want us to all buy you presents? What's going on? And he's like, no, but like if you go to the store and you happen to think about me and you bring me peanut M&Ms that's like, $1,
Uh-huh.
then I'm going to be like, "Ugh,"
You feel
like,
appreciated.
right. But
That's
it
great.
goes back to the other languages that are important too. Like, it's not about the fact that you brought me the peanuts. You thought
So
about
you
me
thought of me.
and you
Mm-hmm.
acted on it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like acts of service and you know what I'm saying? Like it goes
Uh-huh.
into all of the other ones that all are behind it.
Uh-huh.
So they all kind of work together. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like when I was looking at this test, I was looking at it from more of like a relationship standpoint with the 5 love languages.
Uh-huh.
And I think that these personality tests, all of these could be used in relationships as
Yeah.
well as in the
100%.
workplace
Mm-hmm.
because especially if you're talking about long-term relationships, if you're talking about like cohabitating in the same space and stuff,
Yeah,
a
and
lot of people,
parenting, like
yes, like
parenting to
it really
child.
is
Mhm.
collaborating like a team, right? Like how do you work best? It's not necessarily going to get down to like who's going to do the dishes and who's going to do the laundry, but like how do you want to be communicated with? What actually makes you feel appreciated and motivated? And,
Mhm.
where are the landmines that I'm going to step on,
Well, and
that are going to trigger you?
what I think that a lot of people don't understand about love languages and languages of appreciation in the workplace is that most people are going to automatically do the
What
one
they
that,
want.
yes, but because that's just what comes naturally to you. You
Uh-huh.
treat people how you want to be treated. I want to have the quality time. I think I'm pretty even quality time and words of affirmation. I think our whole team was a lot that, like, very close to
Mhm.
that. But I could be every single day saying, thank you, babe. I so appreciate that. You're the best, all of those things. And they could all go over his head. He
Yeah.
clocks it, so that's good. All he wants, let's just say, is for me to do things around the house. He wants me to take out the garbage so that he never has to, or whatever. Like, that is
Yeah.
not at
I
all
was
our
gonna say,
dynamic.
I don't think that's Dan, but
It's not.
okay.
No, he is he does the things, but it's maybe he likes when people does stuff like that, and that's why he does it so much for other people. But it's like, if you don't talk about it and he's just doing all of these things for me, I'm like, that doesn't even bother me. Like, I'm happy to do
Yeah.
those things. I would rather you just tell me how great I am all the time and spend time with me, you know?
Yeah.
So, but it's in the workplace, it's so important to know, because you could be throwing all of your energy at doing favors for people and they're like, I don't want your favors. Like, I just need you to tell me that
Yeah.
I'm pretty, you know?
Yeah,
So,
and it's interesting. It's interesting the way all those things come out in a relationship because I've found myself looking at, what it is that I want, especially in moments where I don't feel like I'm getting what it is that I want or what it is that I need, and looking at how that person interacts or behaves and finding ways of like, okay, well, you're feeling unloved because you're not getting whatever it is, whether it's the quality time or maybe it's the words of affirmation or physical touch,
uh-huh.
all of those aspects.
Yeah.
But then being able to like look at them and know who they are and seeing what they're actually doing, going, oh, hold on a second. They really are showing me this affection that I'm asking for just in their own language.
Yes.
And then being able to like lower the anxiety a little bit. It's really there, but we need to have these
Mhm.
conversations and kind of scoot that a little bit. But I think there's a danger there, right? Where it's like if you know too much about the other way the other person loves, you can excuse away not getting what it is that you need because you can see that they're giving it to you in their own way. It
Yeah.
is important that you learn to speak each other's languages so that everybody is fulfilled.
Yes. And I think that this comes up a lot in corporate, right? What we don't want these personality tests to do is to, well, one, we don't want them to be taken and then never looked at because that is
Because it's
dumb.
pointless. Why would
Yes.
you not act on the information
Use
that you
it.
have?
Yes. Use it as a boss, use it as an employee, use it as a coworker, use it as a partner, whatever. Use it. Use the information that you get. That's very important. But the other direction is to say, so we just took the DISC
Mhm.
assessment. That's the one that you were talking about that our client Chad had you take.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting because you come up with and you're like, yeah, that's me, that's me, that's me. But if you're like, I am this, so I'm just an asshole. That's who
Yeah.
I am.
Sorry, I'm
Mhm.
rude. I'm,
Yeah. Or I am just attention to detail isn't it's not like I'm a low attention to detail person. That is a fucking cop out, because yes, that's true. You are naturally a certain way, but sometimes you have to play the game and
yeah.
you have to use these things to improve too. It's not natural to be attention to detail, but you do have to give it a shot, right? You can't just say that's not who I am.
Yeah, I think that it should be used as a place to see your areas of opportunity to where you can work harder at those things rather than saying, this test proves that this is an issue for me. And it validates that in a way that, well, this is just who I am.
Yeah,
So
you can
I'm
excuse it
I'm
away.
only going to
Hmm.
do the things that I'm good at or only going to work on my strengths and not make this, make this part of things better just because it identified that in you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there could be pros and cons in that. So how you use it is going to be a big
Yeah,
piece of that.
I think I just don't ever want somebody to take something like this and then have a crutch to not improve, right? And if you want to not improve on some of these things that don't come natural to you, you cannot improve on them, but you
Yeah.
just don't expect the same opportunities that other people are going to get, right? If you are messy and unorganized and that's what it says, that's fine,
You're
but
probably not going to be the planner on the team.
yeah, so it's something to just also use to improve, right? I am a
Hmm.
little bit rigid. So I do have to work on that sometimes shit doesn't matter and sometimes that can wait and sometimes
Yeah.
I have to be flexible. I can't just be like, well, you saw my test, I'm rigid. And it's like, well, that's not fun to work with. We need to work on ourselves a little bit to not just let this pigeonhole us and that's just who we are forever in every situation.
Yeah, it's definitely an opportunity for leadership, peers, coworkers, partners, whatever that looks like to know and understand your personality better so that they know how to interact with you and get the best from you. But it's also something for you to identify where your strengths and I don't want to say weaknesses, but your opportunities lie so that you know where you can put work in. You know,
Uh-huh.
if you weren't able to change, like you said, they wouldn't have us take this test again several years later because you do change, grow, evolve over time,
Uh-huh.
definitely more with effort. So, with that being said, like this isn't a like one size fits all. You were born with this assessment. Now just go into the workplace. It's information. Information is power. And you have the ability to change and mold that with your own behaviors and thoughts over time.
I
Some of this,
completely
like you're
agree.
not ever going to train yourself to be extroverted. You're not going to
No.
train yourself to go, oh, I'd really rather be around people right now. That's
Uh-huh.
not going to happen. But
Yeah.
in some of these tests, when it talks about like what your strengths are, as far, like you were talking about being a disorganized, messy person,
Uh-huh.
you may always at the root be a disorganized, messy person, but you can find tips, tricks, and tools to be better and to come a little higher on that scale to be
Yeah.
more consistent and
Mm-hmm.
organized and put together.
Yes. Get systems in place and figure it out
Yeah.
a little bit so that it's now just not a strength, but like not a weakness of
Yeah.
yours, right? Yeah, I completely agree with that. I have loved talking about some of these, but there were some other ones that we've taken randomly. Actually, one of the ones that I liked in corporate, we had to take a test and then we all had to come to a meeting with the color shirt on, like, because it
Wearing the
told you
color
what
that we
color.
were. Yeah.
And it was pretty interesting for a department in a corporation to all show up and you're like, oh, I knew they were going to be blue too. Or I knew that that person was going to be red, right? Because red was the type A's, right? And
Yes.
the yellow, I think, was the fun, the people who prioritized
It was the
um,
yellows that were
fun and
really, really obvious to
imagination.
me. We were like, of
Yes.
course you're a yellow, Macy. Like
Yeah.
we knew.
Yes, you're fun and imaginative and all of those things. But it was so interesting because when you look at a department, and you're like, we do hire a lot of creatives. We do hire a lot
Uh-huh.
of type A's. I was surprised. I think the other colors were maybe blue and green. There were
I just
very
found them.
few.
I just found the
Did you?
breakdown of what they all mean too.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. What was it called? How did you find
It's
that?
called the four colors. I don't know.
Okay.
Really
So tell me.
creative leader on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the four colors, if you are red, you are nicknamed the leader. You are bold, assertive, competitive, and action oriented, motivated by power, results, and achievement. These are people that take charge. Obviously, they're goal
Uh-huh.
driven. They don't love
Yeah.
small talk. Blue people are the nurturer. They're loyal, empathetic, sincere, and relationship focused. They're motivated by connection, harmony, and purpose, and they are a team player. They value trust and they avoid conflict. I
Uh-huh.
was blue.
Yeah,
I was
so I
very
was
blue.
also blue. And what was interesting to me in that meeting is that most of the room was blue.
Uh-huh.
Like the marketing department at Texas Roadhouse was
At
like
that time,
blue.
at that
Yeah.
time,
Yeah, it was. Who knows what it's
I'm
like
sure
now?
it shifted now. Who knows?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yellow, those people are the optimists. They're outgoing, fun-loving, enthusiastic, and creative. They're motivated by recognition, freedom, and fun. And at work, they are energetic, they inspire others, and they may avoid details. That tracks. The green ones, they are the analysts. They're calm, analytical, logical, and organized. They're motivated by understanding structure and consistency. And at work, they like planning, seeking clarity, avoiding chaos and drama.
Mhm. So what was interesting is I couldn't even really remember the other color because like
I don't
nobody in
know
the
that we had
department was
any.
green. Yeah, there's a possibility that like, one person was
Right. It
green.
was probably Joe.
Yeah, yeah, Joe, that would make so much sense.
Yeah.
But the most logical people and the most, like analytical, but like a marketing department shouldn't have a ton of
Why would you
analytical
have
people,
analytical
right?
people? Yeah.
Yeah, this is more creative and
I don't know.
yeah.
Ryan maybe
Mhm.
too, though.
Mhm. I wonder if he was still there during
I
that
mean, I
time.
don't know. I was just thinking about like
Yes,
from
but
a
yes,
position standpoint in the
he
department,
was
what
all about
positions would make
analytics.
sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's fun. That was a fun one. I
It
really
was a
liked
fun
that one.
exercise. Yeah.
Yes,
And
and to
like,
see everybody that and how they did it. But I think that we see this in a lot of groups. So next week we're going to have on Amy Nunn, and Amy
uh-huh.
is a coach, and she helps teams, and she's awesome. And we'll introduce you to her next week. But I was at a meeting a couple weeks ago, and she did a personality test that was different than one that I've seen before. And I'll have her explain it. But basically, she had you take a little test. It was very short,
Uh-huh.
and then there were innovators. There were several different. So there were groups of people, and she gave them everyone who was a certain thing the page that said what that person was. And it was a little bit different to do this in a networking setting because we don't, we're all business owners for the most
Yeah.
part.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit different. And most people were the same thing, because there's a personality to not all business owners, but a lot of them. And I didn't know what people would be, right?
Yeah.
It's like I had an idea when we would do those tests at work, what people would be.
Because
I
you
knew
knew
them really
them.
well, and I worked side by side with them so much. But yeah, it was interesting, and I love any opportunity to do a test like this. I'm freaking in, basically, is
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So,
It's fun.
mhm.
Um,
So I really love the DISC assessment that we took. I know that we mentioned that we took that. We had talked about that we should read through it and like try and understand what it meant, but we're going to have Amy on next week, and she's an expert at reading these, at
Yeah.
doing these with teams. So I really think that we should wait and just have her go over it with us, because then it'll actually fully make sense all together. Because, like, we read it and it's interesting. It's like, yeah, that's me, that's me, that's me. But how do these things work together? And how can we work better together as a team
Hmm.
by knowing all of those things? So I look forward to that. I look forward to her going through that assessment with us.
I
I think
think
that'll be
that's a
fun.
really, really smart point is that you can take all of these tests in the world, but and oh my gosh, the results of this disc assessment is like 22 pages long. You
Yeah.
can get lost in it,
Mhm.
absolutely. But like if you have the opportunity to go over your results with somebody who is really well versed and an expert at reading these personality tests and, determining how all of your qualities are going to interact with each other, like I really think this could be a superpower in the workplace. I mean, this
Mhm.
has the power to let you let go of frustrations about some other people because you just understand them for who they are now and you go to them for the things that make
Mhm.
sense for them, not the, things that make you
Yeah.
want to kill them because you can't do it. I just think that the more like reflective we are about our own natural tendencies and then also the more aware we are of other people's, the more likely we are to have some peace and harmony in the workplace. And I think it all kind of comes back to burnout, right? You got to know who you are and you got to know, like, did I try to fit a square peg into a round hole here?
Yeah.
Am I in the right place or am I on the right team? And if I am, this is just going to supercharge my ability to be the best player on the team. And if you are a leader and you are building a team, like what a great resource to determine who you're actually bringing on
Mhm.
to work with each
Yeah, to
other.
hire the right people,
Yeah.
to teach your team how to work together, to
Mhm.
just bring harmony, like you said, and also give grace, I think is really helpful to know where people sit. So I love all of this. I think that this is kind of part one of an episode, because we are going to talk about more with Amy about this, and then a bunch of other stuff, because she's just so smart. So look forward to that next week. If you have a favorite personality test, we want to hear about it, because we love to take all of them.
Yeah, because 'cause we'll take
And
them all.
yes, we will. We find that very fun. But also, if you've taken one of these tests that we talked about and you want to share your results with us, please send them, because that's just interesting to us. We love that. Like, and we look forward to doing the Myers-Briggs too, and letting you guys know if we are what we think that we are, because we might be really wrong,
Because we
except
could
for,
be so off.
oh yeah, who knows? Who knows? So, all
We'll
right. Well,
see.
thank you. This was a good one.
I will see you next week, Mandy. Have a good
All right.
one. Bye,
Okay.
guys.
Bye.